Hola, buenas tardes.
Buenas tardes, bienvenidos a conversaciones en forma virtual. Les solicitan su cámara activa, no valoración del docente. Les voy a máxima esta sesión. A este profesor.
¿Ya puedo compartir? Okay, students, hello to this class. Today we have to work with module number 4, class or reading number 2, Jerry. Reading number 2. And so the first thing that we have to do is say thank you for everything that you have in your receipt or everything that you propose in your life, okay? Every morning you have two choices. Continue to sleep with your dreams or wake up and chase them. Okay? Today we have to work with the reading number 2 that is about or how to write an argumentative essay. Okay, but first of all, you know that you have to talk about or try to discuss or maybe share some ideas or something that you want to share about the last class. Okay, so the last class was about an expository essay. Okay, so expository means intent to explain or describe something. Okay. An expository essay provides a clear focused explanation of a particular topic or process or set of ideas. It doesn't set out to prove a point, just to give a balanced view of its subject matter. Okay, so expository essays are usually short segments intended to test your composition skills or your understanding of a subject. They tend to involve less research and original arguments than argumentative essays. Okay, so how to approach an expository essay is really important. The structure of your expository essay will vary according to the scope of your segments and the demands of your topic. So it's worthwhile to plan out your structure before you start using an essay outline. Okay, a common structure for a short expository essay consists of 5 paragraphs. Okay, an introduction, the third body paragraph, and the conclusion. So with this information, can we start with the reading for today? How to write an argumentative essay. An argumentative essay is a piece of writing that takes a stance on an issue. In a good argumentative essay, a writer attempts to persuade the readers to understand and support their point of view about a topic by stating their reasoning and providing evidence to back it up. Okay? So with this information, let me share with you the first video for this class. So wait a second. Let's discuss the argumentative or
Let's discuss the argumentative or persuasive essay. An argumentative essay topic might ask, is chocolate better than candy? Another argumentative essay topic might be, should the weekends be extended to 4 days instead of 2 days? Or how about, are cats better than dogs? However you choose to respond to those previous questions, you are already creating an argument. But remember, in writing, an argument does not mean yelling or fighting. Rather than fighting, an argument or persuasive essay persuades your reader to make a change. This can be a mental change, where you are changing their opinion, or it could be a policy change, where you are changing a practice, law, or rule. Remember that all essays require a thesis statement that provides the main idea of the essay for the reader. View the example thesis statement for an argumentative essay and notice how the writer takes a stance and provides the reader with a specific argument that will be developed. Sometimes you might agree with both sides of the argument. However, in order for readers to find you reliable, make sure to only choose one side of the argument in order to develop those specific ideas. Now, how will people believe your argument? You want to make sure that you give evidence to support your claims. For example, what information can you find that proves your claims about dogs being better than cats due to their temperament? Remember that it's up to you as the writer to persuade your readers by providing reliable evidence for your arguments. View the various pieces of evidence you might search for to prove your claims about dogs being better pets than cats. Make sure to address any arguments people have against your claims. These are called counter-arguments, and you will write about them in the opposition paragraph. View some examples of counter-arguments here. Remember to keep your tone kind and polite. An accusatory or angry tone will upset your readers. Then they won't listen to you. Eliminate any exclamation points from your writing as well. View some examples of what you should not do here. The structure of an argumentative essay mirrors the many essays that you've seen before. There is an introduction paragraph that ends with a thesis statement, body paragraphs with evidence and analysis, the opposition paragraph that we talked about where you address counter-arguments, and a conclusion. Argumentative essays are the most important essays you will write. Let's think about it. Pretty much every essay is an argumentative essay. Because what is the purpose of writing an essay if you aren't writing to convince readers of something, whether it's literature or life? Think about those college admission essays or those job interview essays that you'll be writing. These are argumentative essays that simply prove how awesome you are. Ever post a status or picture on social media? You are using argumentative essay tactics to try to persuade the readers or viewers about your opinion or that your life is awesome. Let's review our main points about the argumentative essay. First, the goal is to persuade your readers. Second, remember to follow the basic structure. Third, keep your tone polite and rely on evidence to support your claims. Finally, remember that most essays are argumentative essays. Now, you are ready to write an argumentative essay that persuades your readers.
Okay, so you know that you have to use as a guide the reading that you can find in the platform, right? So you can find some important information that can you find in the reading, and you have to depend on that because when you have to solve the questions or you have to complete the assignments or you have to study for the test, you can obtain all the information here, okay? So, first of all, it's important to know what is really an argumentative essay. In other words, an argumentative essay is a type of essay that presents an argument for or against a topic or issue. Okay, so the goal of an argumentative essay is to persuade the reader to agree with the position or viewpoint being presented. So in an argumentative essay, the writer takes a clear stance on an issue and supports their position with an evidence and reason argument. We'll include an introduction paragraph that previews the main argument and thesis statement. So the body of the paragraph then provides supporting evidence for the argument, such as factual data, statistics, historical precedent, logical reasoning, or expert opinion. Okay. Common type of evidence include like facts, like quotes or experts, or real world examples, right? So counter-arguments opposing the writer's position may also be addressed and reviewed within the essay. And finally, a conclusion paragraph will summarize the main point and restate the thesis statement assertively. Okay? So if you want to have an effective argumentative essay, will coherently present a viewpoint on a data table topic. Support it with compelling evidence, acknowledge opposing views, and persuade readers to agree with the writer's position or support for their thoughts on the issue. So the main goal is to demonstrate the critical thinking and the rhetorical skill to engage the readers in thoughtful debate of complex modern issues. Okay? So, how to write an argumentative essay. How to write an argumentative essay. Okay. So in the reading, you can find some words like this style differs from the other kind of writing. There is a place of some words that maybe help you. Okay. Okay. And how to write an argumentative essay. In this essay, you have to require or you have to establish a clear position on a topic and support it with the logical evidence. So as you know, right? Start by the researching the issue to gain familiarity with the debate and the common arguments around it. Then grab an introduction that presents a statement which clearly states your position on the issue. So the body of your essay will provide a context around the debate and present factual evidence, as you know, perspective and some other examples that you can live in the real world that validate your position in this. Okay, so the body paragraph should focus on one supporting point and include a topic sentence stating the argument followed by the convincing evidence and the analysis. So address the opposing sides, key arguments with the counter argument support by more validating evidence. Okay, so wrap up with the conclusion that the procedure teaches and sums up the main ideas behind your stance. Don't forget, it's important, don't forget smooth transitions between the ideas and the clear languages, void and exaggerations, or maybe the generalizations, okay? So, maintain an authority tone that shows the confidence in your position without it completely dismissing those who disagree with the recent nuanced arguments that thoughtfully acknowledge opposition while standing firm in your view. Okay? So in the reading, you can find an important aspect here. Good argumentative writing depends on three specific qualities. The first one is the precision in argument and use of terms. The second one, the grounding in evidence. And the third one, the clarity and concision in prose. Okay, so the first one, precision in argument and use of terms. The precision in language and clearly defining terms is vital in crafting an effective argumentative essay. As the writer posits, contention or in the table or the debate table issue, they must take care to state their position in clear or exact language that leave no ambiguity as to the sense of their judgment or argument in this case. So any terms with room for interpretation should be defined within the context of the argument early on, supporting the writer's particular stance. For example, if using the term equality, the writer will explain whether they are speaking of quality or equality of opportunity or equality of outcome. That thesis and supporting evidence will then align with the parameters established by those definitions, or by practicing utmost precision rather than employing bad language, open to misinterpretation. The writer's ropes the reader into their logical thought or the progression or guiding them to an irrefutable conclusion rather than losing them in a tangle of model reasoning. So the goal is clarity of concept and ideas that generate illumination rather than obscurity around the responsibility of the sound, argumentation, and the exact viewpoint being illuminated and shed at a pace on the earth side, meticulous use of rhetoric and terminology. Okay. Number two, grounding in evidence. Grounding in evidence. An effective argumentative essay depends on the writer grounding their thesis and key arguments in compelling evidence. So rather than making claim-based solely on opinions or speculations, the writer must bolster their assertions with different facts, the authority, reference, and citations, in this case like statistics, historical precedents, illustrative examples, and other various support suitable to the essay's topic. The body paragraph should incorporate such concrete validations simply into each defensive or critical point, right? Whether applies as raw numbers demonstrating scope and scale or an apt quote from an acclaimed study in the field. Evidentiary foundations reinforce arguments with tangible reality that the readers cannot easily dismiss, or verifiable proof point for their strength. The writer's comment of knowledge on the subject while showcasing meticulous research on or analysis on current real-world sources. So accepting or accepting and informed skins with hard evidence length and argument greater, the grounding in evidence transform an argumentative essay from mere conjecture to an ironclad precision, challenging even the most skeptical reader to engage with the learning, okay, and reflections that you have throughout there. So the goal is persuading audience to examine assumptions on debatable issues through the factual substantiation that make cognitive dismissal increasingly difficult. Okay? And number 3, clarity and concision in prose. In argumentative essay, must express ideas with clarity and concision to effectively persuade readers. Rather than overloading an essay with excessive words, complex sentence constructions, or obscure jargon, the writer should use clear, precise language that consistently delivers their central thesis. So each paragraph should feature a trilogical topic sentence expressing in a single point that support that the overall thesis. The paragraph will expand upon that point with additional sentence providing evidence, analysis, and impact. Get excessive verbosity and repetition should be avoided. Okay? In the case of the repetition, the writer should favor plain language over ornament prose or convey more meaning with fewer well-chosen words. Succinct expressions free of ambiguity and unit qualification will resonate more soundly. In this case, the active voice and positive sentence constructions will also lend transparency, okay? While essays require thorough explanation and examination of concepts, rambling or meta language will undermine the argument's force. So achieving balance between depth and economy. The writer should guide readers smoothly through reasoning to the Clinton conclusion. In this case, a demonstration of full brevity and eloquence in synthesizing a convincing proof with the art and proofs. Okay? So with this information, let me share with you the second video for this class.
Mami, mi barriguita se siente dura y me duele.
Nuevan Confort 3, con proteína de fácil digestión, prebióticos y probióticos. Únete con esta triple combinación que ayuda a disminuir molestias digestivas menores en la barriguita de tu hijo.
Hello everyone, it is Miss Kepley here, and today we're going to talk about argumentative writing. And this is our first mini lesson in a series of lessons that will teach us how to write an argumentative paper. So, lesson number 1 is all about the overview of argumentative writing. So let's get started. First, what is argumentative writing? You've probably argued with someone, so is it like writing out your arguments? Well, not really. Argumentative writing is a piece of writing that has you take a stance on an issue. That means you choose a side and you write about it. So our steps for argumentative writing is step 1, you're going to investigate a topic. And step 2, you're going to collect and evaluate evidence. So you can't just have an opinion. You have to back up your opinion with evidence. And then you're going to establish a position. Are you for something or against something? So what's the purpose of this? Why do we have argumentative writing? So it's a way for the writer, that's you, to persuade the reader to understand and support their point of view about a topic by stating your reasoning and providing evidence to back it up. So here are the parts of an argumentative paper that we'll be going in depth into in the next lessons. Step number 1, or part number 1, is your introductory paragraph. This has your thesis statement that outlines your topic and states your claim. Part number 2 are the body paragraphs, and typically we have 3. And these explain the reasons you support your thesis statement and address opposing points of view. Opposing means opposite viewpoints. And the third part is your conclusion paragraph, and that restates your thesis and summarizes all of your arguments made in your body paragraphs. So why do we do this? What is the end goal here? The end goal is to clearly outline a point of view, reasoning, and evidence. And from there, the reader of the paper will know your stance on the subject as well as some of the other points of view. And you will use other points of view to establish your point of view as the best. And that is it. That is an overview of argumentative writing. In our next lesson, we're going to learn about thesis statements and making bold claims. See you then.
Okay, so the reader says that the following part comes in 2 parts. The first section provides an outline of what a good argumentative essay should look like when it is done. The second section provides a step-by-step process that can lead you to this happy result. Part number 1, the argumentative essay in outline form. Okay, so read further to find full description in this section. In this pages, you can find the first part or the part 1, dividing all the parts that you can or that you have to develop inside the argumentative essay. Okay, so this part is composed by the title, the introduction, the body, the conclusion. Okay. Okay, so the argumentative essay lends itself to a clear or orderly structure throughout an outline format, as you know, that guide the writers in defending their position on a chosen controversy. So the author will cut off with a hook opening the anecdote and lead into the thesis statement that articulates the essay's core argument. Okay, so now the title is the first point that we have to develop here. So the best titles provide a brief and catchy summation of your essay argument. Suppose your essay will arc the cats make great house pets. It's an example. A little that conveys your argument may be sometime like this. The hiding genius of the playful cat, or this title communicates more. Okay, you can find some examples here that you can relate with the title that you have to write in the meaning that this title has. Okay, but in other words, the title of an argumentative essay serves the critical role of capturing readers' interest while conveying the writer's central thesis or primary argument. Okay, so rather than a vague or generalized, either engaged title should be specific and indicating there is a main point of view on a controversial subject. So for example, as you can find in the reading, can I mention over the ones, the pesticides bring more harm than good. So you can introduce a debate around this information, okay? An effective An effective title may also incorporate a timely clue, relate to current events or popular discourse, provoking the readers to think about its relevance. Okay, so additional, the title construction should feature complement verbs and persuade or persuasive word choices that could the or advocacy or critical perspective or call to a take turn or action found in the prose. So the end goal is for the title to find engagement with the incendiary issues while hiding at the direction of the themes to the rest of the essay will unpack in a vivid detail. So a strong, thought-provoking title is quite analyze the goal or for title loses moment. And so the title sets the tone for the Peter concept of ideas awaiting readers convinced to pin based on that choice. Carefully crafted summation found at the very top. Okay, so this in this case or the case of the title. Part number two, the introduction or the first paragraph. So start with an opening hook to catch your reader's interest. So may pose a puzzle or question that your essay will then resolve, and you might lead with a striking quotation or scene. So whatever you do, keep it brief and make sure that your opening hook provides a bridge to your thesis statement. Avoid a general statement that makes sweeping and unsupportable claims and or another common flaw in introductions is the empty warm-up sentence. This sentence appears at first glance to have substance, but they really contribute nothing to your argument. So it is important that we carefully consider a number of factors. So you have to be dependent on this. You can find some important words under this. So your thesis statement should be 1 or 2 sentences long, and it should at minimum present your thesis to readers. Ideally, you can also briefly explain your main reasons behind the thesis. For instance, your thesis will are that include in the thesis a brief explanation of your main sub-arguments. Okay? And independence, dignity, and hygiene that's an example. As with the opening hook, it's the state or the thesis statement brief. So in a short essay, introduction should be just 1 paragraph total, about a half page in length. State specific evidence for the body. So in this case, the introduction or the first paragraph serves as a critical first impression for an argumentative essay, setting the stage for the writer's impatient defense of the position or their position on a controversial issue. So the intro or the introduction in this case should kick off with an immediate hook, engaging the reading citation and whether that being intriguing, okay? Anecdote or timely news, like examples or shocking statistics or compelling questions on the essay's central debate. So this opening hook leads into overview background on the issue to establish the context and the transition fluidly into the thesis statement. So the cornerstone claims present the writer's singular viewpoint with the precise language, and the thesis define the parameters. The thesis define the parameters for the independent debate. So this focus declaration, the writer foreshadows the key evidence type supporting their stance, which will repair within the body paragraph as a reinforcement. And the introduction may also touch briefly on a major opposing views that will get extensive refutation later. So by the paragraph end, the driving intent of the essay is made vividly clear to add a compressed framework spotlight the present argument soon to unfold. And the stage is set for the writer to now use the party to construct their item considerable case. Okay? Number 3, the body. So each paragraph in the body of the essay should start with a topic sentence argument, or TSA. That TSA should announce the argument of the paragraph and make clear how the paragraph evidence will support the essay's overall argument. The rest of the paragraph should present explain evidence that will support the TSA. In a sense, the first topic sentence is it's little misleading because this sentence should convey the paragraph argument, not simply its topic. And you can find other important points like resist the temptation to cram too much into the paragraph or into one paragraph. Each paragraph should develop on distinct idea. If you squeeze too many different ideas into one paragraph, your TSA will become muddled, okay? Or it will introduce only one of the paragraph's several ideas. When you see the happening, split the paragraph into two, and each one starting with its own TSA. And although you can make exception to this rule, each supporting body paragraph should be about a half page in length. This length usually provides enough space for supporting evidence without cramming too many ideas into one paragraph. This is from the reading, right? So in this case, the body of an argument essay or argumentative essay serves to elaborate on and present evidence for the key assertions put for as the writer's central position in the opening paragraph. So each body paragraph covers a distinct supporting point that fills a logical case. For example, one paragraph could follow the introduction, thesis statement on the benefits of public schools, for example, with complements that exist that underlie superior academic and all the information. So the next body paragraph will then cover an additional proof perspective on public schools. This is in the case of the second paragraph, okay? So another body paragraph might highlight the lower cost and other important things that you can maybe add at the moment to develop that paragraph. And no matter the organizational sequence, the body paragraph all but coherently advance the overchange line of debate. Within paragraph, the writer not only presents claims or facts or citations or examples upholding their stance, but critical analysis for the support to demonstrate the authority and conviction. Okay, so forming the fortress or reason proof center around the writer's thesis forms the crux of the essential section. So throughout and around the writer's thesis forms the crux of this essential section. Throughout this, synthesis or supporting evidence aligned to inform a persuasive whole, the essay's body looks to settle the central argument at hand. Okay? So with this information, let me share with you the first part of the practice for today. So you know what you have to do now. You have to use this information as a guide to solve some questions. And if you feel that you need to complete the information, you can look for more in the internet too. Okay? So let me share with you the questions. Okay. Question number 1. What is an argumentative essay? What is an argumentative essay? Okay, an argumentative essay is a type of essay where the writer presents their opinion or position on a topic and support it with evidence and reasoning. So the goal is to persuade readers to agree with the reader's point of view. Okay? Number 2, what makes a good argumentative essay? A good argumentative essay has a strong thesis statement that clearly states the writer's position. It is supported by the factual evidence like statistics, like quotes, and examples that the writers can show or maintain in a writing, right? It also acknowledges the counter arguments and effectively refutes them. And a strong argumentative essay will be logical, organized, and rooted in some reasoning. Okay. Number three, should an argumentative essay consider both sides of an issue? Yes, in this case, yes. A strong argumentative essay will demonstrate that the writer has thoroughly researched and considered both sides. Even thought the writer will take a firm position and stand on one side. Others and counter arguments makes the writer's own argument stronger when they refute the opposition. Okay. Number four, what should you not do in argumentative essay? What should you not do in argumentative essay? You should not rely solely on opinions or emotions. That's the first step. An argumentative essay demands evidence that persuades the reader throughout factual support and sound logic. Also avoid the overly simplistic use or complex issues or sweeping claims with no proof, and dismissing the entire thread of the sentence instead of confronting their opponent views directly. Okay. Number five. What makes an argument weak? Arguments are weak when claims are presented without factual evidence, contain flawed reasoning, rely on false assumptions, or demonstrate narrow-mindedness towards opposite views, or use overly emotional language not based on reason. So weak arguments are not persuasive. Okay. Number six. How should be an argumentative essay? You should be in an argumentative essay with an engaging introduction that presents background information on the topic, an attention-grabbing hook, and a clear thesis statement that states your position in the issue. Okay? Number seven, what should you include in the body paragraph? The body paragraph should provide supporting evidence for the thesis statement, such as facts, statistics, or opinions, quotes, and examples. Each body paragraph should focus on one main idea or piece of evidence that support your overall information or your overall argument. And number eight, should counter-argument be addressed? Yes, you should address counter-arguments by bringing them up yourself briefly and then refuting them using logic and evidence. So this strengthens your own position by critical analyze opposing views. So with this information, I'll share with you the next video for the slide.
Descubre ahora más color para colores y goza hasta 5 veces más. Colores siempre intensos, pruébalo. Descubre ahora más color para colores y goza hasta 5 veces más. Colores siempre intensos, pruébalo.
Hello everyone, it is Miss Kepley here, and today we are looking at Lesson 2 in our Argumentative Writing unit, and it's all about thesis statements. So let's get started. What is a thesis statement? It sounds really fancy, and it kind of is, but because it drives your whole paper. So a thesis statement is a one-sentence statement that summarizes what your essay is about, and then it prepares the reader for what's to come. So there's 3 steps to develop your thesis. Step 1, you're going to start with a question. So for example, is bottled water better than tap water? And then you'll take that question and you'll pick a side. So for example, people should choose tap water over bottled water. That's the position I took. That's the side I chose. And then you're going to add in key arguments. So here's an example of a thesis statement. People should choose tap water over bottled water because it's less expensive, more environmentally friendly, and less likely to contain microplastics. I have 3 key arguments there of why people should choose bottled water. And that, my friends, is your thesis statement. And it goes at the end of your introduction paragraph. So what's the purpose? Why do I even care if you write a thesis statement? Why do we ask that of you? So your thesis should take a strong position. The purpose of your essay is to convince your reader of the thesis based on the strong evidence you provide. So it lets the reader know your position and why you feel that way. It's also kind of like the roadmap for the rest of your paper. So here's some important notes about thesis statements. Your statement should be debatable. It will make a claim that people can agree or disagree with. So, for example, if you say pollution is bad, well, everybody agrees with that. It's not really debatable. So, all of your thesis statements should be debatable. Number 2, it should be assertive. It will show your stance on the topic. You're not like, maybe we should use bottled water over tap water because I think it might be a good idea. No, you say tap water is better than bottled water. It's assertive. So we have no question about what your stance is. And third, your statement should be evidence-based. That means there's some things that you can back it up with, some facts, statistics, quotes. It should avoid value or moral beliefs that cannot be supported by evidence. So we're always going to be looking for evidence to back up your claim because that's what makes it a thesis statement and not an opinion. So some main points here. Your thesis statement should briefly outline your main points. It gives your reader a clear idea of what you're going to discuss in your essay. And the main points will also serve as the roadmap that will keep you organized and on track while you're writing. So let's practice this. Let's dissect this thesis statement. So I want us to look for the claim and the main points in this example. So here it is. Cats are better pets than dogs because cats are independent, are quieter, and can care for themselves. So what I want you to do is figure out the author's claim and the 3 main points. You might have to pause it. That's okay. So pause and figure this out. So let's look at this. What is the claim here? Cats are better pets than dogs. So that is our claim. I'm going to highlight it in green. And then why are they that? What are the main points here? Cats are independent. I'm going to put that in bold. Are quieter, bold, and can even care for themselves, bold. So we have the claim with our 3 main points. And this is what's going to drive our paper. So that's how to write an effective thesis statement. If you want more help with this, if you will look at the links below, you can get the rest, you can get the activities that go with this lesson and the 7 other lessons to help you write a quality argumentative paper. Until lesson 3.
Okay, and to conclude the part 1, the conclusion, the concluding paragraph of an argumentative essay is used to or share the critical purpose of reiterating the writer's central position or the impact after the proving or after proving their viewpoint across preceding sections. So the conclusion is a reinforce that you can find in the essay for that you have an cumulative effect. Okay, so compelling readers to embrace or at least seriously contemplate the writer's stance given the evidence or the pour across reason discourse. So the paragraph begins by transitioning from the essay's body with a summary of key ideas covered at their culminating applications or implications. For example, after a structuring paragraph of the benefits or information that you prove at the beginning, the writers then return directly to receive the answers already enough. So the conclusion paragraph or the concluding paragraph issues an overall assertion that conveys the essay final judgment without ambiguity. And here have applying public information that you can find in the example. And throughout the consolidation had a major proof, and the conclusion communicate the arguments and the closure and comparing the conviction. Okay, just in the case of the conclusion, it's a recovery or it's a summary of about all the events that you can find in the body of your paragraph. So it's really important to write or develop information based off the information that you present previously in the body of the paragraph. Okay, part number two. Part number two. The process from start to finish. The process from start to finish. So an effective argument or argumentative essay is a multi-step process requiring extensive research and outline planning before the writing even begins fashioning an introduction. So the writer starts by broadly reviewing the chosen controversial issues to craft exciting dialogue and debate around it, immersing in relevant commentaries, objective facts, and publics that allow identify a unique or focus angle for the essay's argument that articulate a precise claim around ideas or benefits yet unpacking issues ignored. So an outline then scaffold presenting evidence to prove that thesis across the paragraph. Okay, so only with the organizing and annotation of source those derived comments to prose or the prose beginning with an engaging hook and context in the introduction before starting, their thesis be opposed to the narrative. And the body requires weighing research evidence into a whole defendant on each facet of the central position statement with side, topic, sentence, maintaining order. So finally, the roadmap outlined before writing the conclusions reiterates the key parts of the argument to the short of the totality of the ironclad case. It's short, okay? Number two, read the assignment handout carefully. Read the assignment. Sorry, number one. Keep up with your reading. So the argumentative essay demands the writing bold sense or stances with up-to-date evidence from current publications and emerging research. So thus maintain consistent engagement with the reading the journals or the magazines or empirical studies or the book proof fundamental rather than relying on outdated source. The essayist constantly review the latest insightful perspective and the data relate to their debate, ensuring their perhaps of coin truth around the fast-evolving issues remain fresh. Okay, so the Just as the role that plays, for example, muscle and real fundamentals, daily commenting competitive edge. The argumentative essayist must constantly study the academic process, publishing paradigm disruption throughout often project works ahead of third time kids anchoring this pivotal moment. Okay, so it's very important that you can relate this information with the information that you develop in your essay at the moment today. Okay. Number two, read the assignment handout carefully. So before you even contemplate a thesis or supporting the framework, the successful argumentative essay begins with the student closely analyzing structure, cadence, and stipulations around the writing text, rather than casual skimming the assignment prompt. The astute essayist embeds focus, energy slowly, or descent and never fades into the key takeaways. With fun to head consideration or requirements like length parameters or formatting styles or topic boundaries or deadline dates or grading rubrics and more rebuild themselves to inform planning. The handout may demand incorporating peer review evidence or applying a specific theoretical models, not without the uncovering. Okay, so perhaps certain structural or formalities can mandatory as well. Failure to absorb source, codify direction, score on right and deviation, even one argumentative venture before leaving happen. But attentive or mediative readers extract a font of wisdom from the giddiness that focus immediate response and illuminate long-term academic growth across a discipline. So it's really important. Number three, gather evidence with your outline. After closely reviewing prompts and parameters for an argumentative writing assignment, the crucial step that you have to follow is it entails self-admitting a published source to gather the evidence that scaffolds and proposed framework, rather than immediately outlining. The writer first deeply investigates the assignment's driving issues throughout academic databases or analyses or reports or stories and other sustained repositories of insight. So the research and current factual studies prove the particular valuable in revealing support through. Okay? So the investigate not taking after quantitative metrics in qualitative impacts surrounded by the factors and related to the paper scope. Okay? And right, the next point is about the right route draft. With a carefully outlined sequence and the research, the first conviction, the argumentative essayist channels very passionate to the fashion and initial route draft that renders a readable materialization of their vision. So writing from the head and the heart and the draft currently transfer will map arguments from the mind to page and transforming concretized reasoning into the discourse. So the pressure of the perfectionist as the writer enters and the liminal space will come in free flow when expression. Critical questions or juxtapositions that capture the authenticity or the veracity of the expression or the debate. So raw honesty or emerge within a candid exposure yet explosive ideas. So but structure around the online content sequence rooms remain for exploring imagery, both brainstorms or for structuring via retrospective prudence. And the process grants freedom to highlight praise for fact checking and insert clarifying transitions that influence require proper credit and other important words. Okay? So with this information, let me share with you the next video.
Estudia en uno de nuestros posgrados virtuales y viaja hacia tu desarrollo profesional. Uniones Colombia, el camino hacia el liderazgo.
Hello, everyone.
It is Miss Kepley here, and today we're going to be looking at Lesson 3 in our Argumentative Writing series, which is all about introduction paragraphs. So let's get started. What is an introduction paragraph? You probably already know, but here's our fancy language arts definition. It's the opening paragraph of your argumentative paper that presents the issue at hand, gives background information, and puts forth the main argument, also known as your thesis statement, which we learned in the last lesson. So here are the parts of an introduction. Part number 1 is the hook. This is like 1 to 2 sentences that will grab your reader's attention. You can use a strong statement, a fact, a statistic, quote, or an interesting question to get it started. After your hook, you're going to give your readers some background information about the topic. So this is the part where you will include information your reader needs to understand the topic. Maybe there's some definitions your reader needs to know, or maybe they need to understand why there is an issue here. And then step 3, like we talked about in lesson 2, you're going to do your thesis statement. And this is where you state your claim and your key arguments. And as a reminder, it will be the roadmap for your essay. So what's the purpose? Why do we start with the introduction paragraph? Can't we just start talking about why we back a claim? Well, the introduction paragraph is like a movie trailer. They familiarize the reader with topic, they establish the focus of the essay, and it tells your reader what the writer's position will be. It sets the reader up for reading your essay. Instead of like jumping into a cold pool, it's kind of like you ease your way into it with your introduction, so it doesn't shock your reader. They know what's coming. Some important notes about the introduction. If you use a quote, statistic, fact, or story in your hook, make sure it's related to the topic. Don't put a knock-knock dad joke in there just because you think it's funny if it's not related to the topic. It always has to be related. Everything you share is related. The introduction is just like the highlight reel of what's to come. You don't want to develop or explain your main points in this introduction. That comes later in the body paragraphs. And each sentence should have a job. It's either part of the hook, it's background information, or the thesis. If it does not serve that purpose, then you need to eliminate it. Get rid of it because you're just adding too much into your introduction. 3 tips for writing a hook, because that's really important. It's going to grab your reader from the beginning. You can use a common misconception, something people think is true, but is really false. You can use a statistic. This will introduce the reader to facts and information they did not know existed. Or you can ask a critical thinking question. Then questions that go beyond yes or no responses will draw the reader into your topic. So something like, have you ever thought about where all of those plastic water bottles end up after you're done with them? That's a great way to introduce into talking about why tap water is better than bottled water. So I have an introduction here, and what we're going to do is we're going to dissect it. We're going to break it apart, and we're going to look for the hook, the background information, and then the thesis statement. So let's read it. A third of the population, about 2.5 billion people, play video games. With that many people playing, it's no surprise that video game competitions, known as electronic sports or esports, have become increasingly popular. Just this year, 46 million viewers watched the Esports World Championship, which broke an all-time record. As the field of esports grows, so has a raging debate about whether or not gaming is, in fact, a sport. Esports have a strong competitive format, requires a specific set of skills, and intense training, so it should be considered a sport. So I want you to pause it. I want you to find the hook, background information, and the thesis statement. So we are back. Let's check this out. So our hook right here, a third of the population, about 2.5 billion people, play video games. That is starting with a fact. In fact, maybe shocks the reader. Like, I didn't know that many people play video games. That's a lot of people. Billion people. That's a lot. So then we talk about video game competitions. It's known as esports. So that's like background information, giving definitions. It's become popular. Again, more background information. This right here, background information, letting our reader know that esports is a growing field. So as it grows, the raging debate about whether or not gaming is in fact a sport. This is all background information and lets our reader know why we're writing a paper about this. Why are we debating this topic? Then this is the thesis statement. We're going to underline it. Esports have a strong competitive format, require a specific set of skills, and intense training. So those are the key points. Here's the claim. So it should be considered a sport. That, my friends, is the thesis statement. That's what's going to drive the rest of the paper. So the reader knows that there's going to be a paragraph about how esports have a strong competitive format, how it requires a specific set of skills, and intense training. And I also know that the author thinks esports should be considered a sport. That is it. That is how you do an introduction.
Okay, so to conclude the point number 2, next one we have to talk about is about the number 6. Create your title. Okay. After the assertions and evidence of an argumentative essay have a flow freely, an initial draft dedicating to the crafting, benefit, or precedent title in the emerging creation to the purpose for the readers, rather than the label in the paper's folder, debate, and the title must encapsulate the specific slant and central frame upheld by the writing against traditional types. Okay, so sensitive title rudely highlighting the key points often involve the tighter linguistic place greater prime engagement as the drafting continues, and the key term choice intrigue or forceful embedded verbs implify or imply the essay's call to the actions or double entenders reveal complex undertones. And with a naming a newborn or the title keyword or whatever colors, birds, impressions, branding the writer on their kitchen. Okay. Next point, take a break. Take a break. After intense serious drafting all their arguments support readers, a critical analyze and other complex elements of our argumentative essay. Even the most disciplined writer profits tremendously by taking a deliberate break from further developing the piece, okay, or the writing, stepping away from the demanding contextual work for some hours of a few days of mental relaxation the chemicals and neural connections is associated with the focused thinking to constitute, okay? So it's really important, okay? The renewed battlefields is old and physical and through the software and the psychology having the full mental cognitive creative credence respecting limitations just as crops, rotations into soil qualities and resulting yields compared to other farming fields without the rest. So regular breeders restore peak productivity for the argument essayist. Okay? And our last point is the revision draft. Start with a clean print copy of your draft and get ready to cover it all over with the editorial marks and rewrites, and take pleasure seeing your ideas emerge and clear form. Okay? So, with this information, let me share with you the last part of the activity for today. Okay. Question number 1. How should evidence be incorporated? How should evidence be incorporated? The evidence should be simply woven into each paragraph. Introduce evidence using sign of phrases and then explain how it backs up the key point you are making rather than letting it stand alone, and analyze the significance of the evidence. Okay. Number 2, how should an argumentative essay be structured? An argumentative essay be structured in the following manner. As you know, the introduction is the first one. You state the introduction should grab the reader's attention, provide the necessary background information, and clearly state the thesis statement. The body paragraph. The body paragraph should present the main arguments or points, each in a separate paragraph. Each paragraph should start with a topic sentence and provide evidence and examples and explain how the evidence supports the argument. Okay? The counter arguments and the refutation. Acknowledge and address opposing viewpoints, presenting the counter arguments to strengthen the overall argument. So then refute those counter arguments with evidence and reasoning. And the last one, the conclusion. The conclusion should restate the thesis statement, summarize the main arguments, and provide a strong closing statement or call to action. Okay. Number 3, what makes a strong conclusion? Wrap up by restating your thesis and key supporting evidence. Do not simply summarize all the previous paragraphs, and by explaining implications or asserting a final statement that leaves the reader with your most compelling argument. Number 4, what is the revision process? Carefully read your full draft, checking for flaws in logic or ineffective language or redundancies or grammar issues. Refine the overall structure and train of evidence. So have peers and read and provide feedback too before finalizing. Number 5, what is the purpose of an argumentative essay? The purpose of an argumentative essay is to persuade the reader to agree with the writer's viewpoint, or take a particular course of action by presenting logical reasoning and supporting evidence. Number 6, can personal opinion be included in argumentative essay? Okay, what personal opinions can be included in argumentative essay? It is crucial to support them with evidence and logical reasoning. So the focus should be on the presenting a well-constructed argument based on facts and persuasive elements rather than solely relying on personal belief. Okay, number 7. What is the role of transitions in argumentative essays? The transitions is really important in an argumentative essay as they help establish logical connection between ideas. So enhance the flow of the essay and guide the readers or the writers through a thought process. So they ensure that the essay is cohesive and coherent. And number 8, can argumentative essay include the personal anecdotes or stories? Yes. An argumentative essay can include personal anecdotes or story if they are relevant and support the main argument being presented. So, however, it is important to remember that the focus should remain on evidence-based arguments and logical reasoning that rather than relying on personal experiences. Okay? So with this information, let me share the last video for this class, okay? Wait me 1 second.
How to get the most of Grammarly free. It's Kayla on behalf of Grammarly to tell you all about the free version of the. Have you
ever been stuck at the beginning of an essay wondering how do you write a strong introductory paragraph for an argumentative essay? In this lesson, you will learn to write an introductory paragraph to engage the reader in the topic by telling your reader why this issue is important. Let's review the steps for writing an essay. First, we went about choosing a topic. Then, finding supporting evidence. The last phase we did was planning to write. Now we're ready to begin drafting the essay. A common mistake that writers make is that they have an unorganized introduction, which makes for an unclear argument. A logical format would be A, B, C. Without a logical order, the reader might be left juggling where you're actually headed with your argument, which of course weakens the argument, creates a lot of question marks. We want to have a well-organized, strong argument. It all starts with the introduction. The steps in order to achieve that: first, we want to grab the reader's attention with a hook. A hook could be an interesting fact, a personal story, or perhaps even a question. The second step we want to take is describe the topic and why it's important. The way that we do that is we present the major ideas of the essay. And finally, the third step we want to take is to write the thesis as the last sentence of your paragraph. First, how do I structure an introductory paragraph? Hook, major topics, thesis statement. Start off with the hook, present the major topics, end with the thesis statement. Important thing to remember. Our previous research is really going to help us out here, where we have our boxes and bullets as I develop my hook. So how do I develop a hook? It's important to remember what a hook actually is. It's used at the beginning of an essay to grab the reader's attention. So if I'm writing about school lunches here, what's a good way to do this? Let's try this. Have you ever eaten a school lunch that you thought was disgusting? Alright, that's okay. But I sort of want to go with something else here. Most students look forward to lunchtime each day, but not because of the food. I don't directly call out the food as being bad or disgusting, but let's see if I can go with something a little stronger here. And still, I like that first part. So let's take a combination. Lunchtime is usually a student's favorite time of day. So why should the food be so horrible? So I start off with a question, but I really grab the reader's attention. I think this might do the trick. Now, how do I describe my topic and present the major reasons for my argument? I'm going to do this by taking a look at my major reasons and start turning these into sentence form. The food is not tasty. I can turn that into the food served at school does not taste good. Same thing, but now it's in sentence form. It's a little flashier. There are not options. Well, now the menu in the cafeteria does not offer options to hungry students. More descriptive in that sentence. How about the food is not healthy? Let me think. The food served in the cafeteria is rarely healthy. All right, so I went from not back to rarely, but I think this could work for me. And now I'm going to take a look at my claim, my thesis statement. Let's see if I can strengthen this up a little bit by asking, can I rewrite my thesis to improve my argument? All right, let me try this. There's no doubt that school lunches need to be improved. All right, that's a much stronger claim. I'm obviously very argumentative here. Well, let's see what this looks like all put together. Lunchtime is all right, there's my hook. There are my reasons. And there's my thesis. All right, that looks like a pretty good introductory paragraph. Can always become better during the revision stage, though. Does this paragraph clearly state what my argument's about? That's the key question. I believe it does. I have my thesis, I have my hook, I have my reasons. Good. Let's review the steps from today's lesson. Grab the reader's attention with a hook. Describe the topic and why it's important by presenting the major ideas. And finally, write the thesis as the last sentence of your paragraph. In this lesson, you learned how to write an introductory paragraph to engage the reader in the topic by telling your reader why this issue is important.
Woo! Adapted mind math!
Okay, so for our class, let's go with the presentation too. Okay, so in conclusion, the argumentative essay represents a thoughtful, carefully constructed analysis of a controversial issue, requiring extensive preliminary research and outline planning, and a multi-step process challenges writers to establish a clear position and defend it with logical structure evidence. So in the first case, they're reviewing debates around their chosen topics or essayists identify the claims we're looking for in this course to serve as the basis of their central thesis. So reading a note-taking allows gathering proof from empirical data or spare opinions or statistics and publications to embed within the formal body paragraph. So in the different sections or sections develop supporting points such as showcasing quantitative or research in one paragraph before providing qualitative analysis of finding in another. The writers further consider counter-arguments to articulate a comprehensive perspective. Okay? So, an I-caption title that encapsulates a specific argument runs the reader engagement. So, throughout the polished rap or precision of term and concept fused with the clarity of language and more cohesive authoritative tense. So overall, the argumentative essay signifies the demonstration of critical thinking and research skills applied towards embedding meaningful dialogue or complex modern concerns. And the journeys of the persuasion relied on the diligent evidentiary grounding to the complementary shifting outlook. Okay. So remember that you can find important aspects inside the reading. Okay, the title, the introduction, the body, the conclusion, the process from start to finish is highlighted, problems to avoid when writing story papers. Okay, it's time to get the best. This is the space that you have to use to show what you learned, to share some information that maybe you say, okay, it's really important to remind us, but in another class maybe you can do it. The best way to predict your future is to create it by Abraham Lincoln. Okay, students, so remember that you have to complete some assignments in the platform, and if you have any doubt or any question, you can put in the forum of consultation, okay? So with this information, I think that is all for today. Remember, if you need or you feel that you need more information, you can use the library in the platform too. You can have a lot of information here. Okay, so with this information, I consider that it's all for today. Have a great week and see you in the next class. Bye.
Damos la clase como finalizada. Que pasen excelente tarde.